Online now, I've got a gentleman who was born in Castledermot in County Kildare, an Irish singer. He was born into a musical family. His father played button accordion with a traditional Irish band. His mother was an Irish dancer. His two sisters played fiddle and piano. Now, not alone is he an adult protege of music, but also a child one as well. At the age of 9, Michael started studying the piano, formerly at the Hennessy School of Music in Carlow. And in 1990, he appeared on the Late Late Show television programme. He was aged just 11. He got a huge reaction at that stage. He later on went on to study music at the Royal Irish Academy of Music in Dublin, launched his own Irish country music career. Henry McMahon of the Mainliners offered him one of his own compositions, a song called The Nearest to Perfect. He has never looked back since, and I'm delighted to welcome him on the programme. Michael English, lovely to speak to you, Michael.
And you too, Jerry. Thanks for having me.
A real pleasure, Michael. You've had a huge career. I mean, the song The Nearest to Perfect, I remember back in the time, I actually used to, from going out on the road to the road shows, from the radio and all the rest of it, I actually, for a huge long period of time, I actually used to listen to the song The Nearest to Perfect something in the region of 11 to 12 times every single week.
Right, yeah. It was a big song. I was so lucky to get it, Jerry. Henry McMahon it was a great, and is a great songwriter, and wrote many songs for many people, and really The Nearest to Perfect started off my career, really. And I think if I hadn't have had that song, I think it would have been so much more difficult to start. You know, it's one of those songs that people always identify you with. Of course, nowadays we've lots of other songs like Loughlin's Bar and A Million Memories and Friday to Dance and all these other singles as well. But back then, that was the first one, yeah.
Indeed, it was. That was one. No, but as you say, you've continued on that, like just to stamp your credentials on your establishment as a huge artist. Is all these other songs, you know, Loughlin's Bar, as you say, A Million Memories, Until You've Walked in My Shoes. I mean, we could name them forever. I mean, those are incredible songs.
Well, thanks very much. Yeah, I wrote a lot of them myself, and I enjoy songwriting. I think that, you know, artists and bands now, they have to have their own songs and their own sound, and like the bands were years ago, like the Mainliners were different from the Royal Show Band. You know, they had their own sound and their own songs, and I think that's still important today. So that's what I try to do, and write more and record a lot as well.
Indeed, I mean, you've certainly released all over the years some absolute gems which have been absolutely huge, and you certainly put your own stamp. Now, at one stage, you were actually managed by X Factor's Louis Walsh.
I was, yeah, for the guts of 3 years. I was, and enjoyed it, and Louis is a gentleman and a good friend of mine, but it was a different thing I was doing back then, and I was travelling a lot more and playing a lot more piano and that kind of thing. But I suppose my heart is in what I do, the Irish music, the country music, and that's what I really love to do.
Yes, I believe. I mean, when I met you before, back a few years ago, when you were under the wing of Louis Walsh, you were actually touring in the US.
That's right. Yeah, I was over there for a good while, and touring around America, and it was lovely, lovely and a great experience. And I love traveling, and I got to see many places. But as I said, my heart is here and in Ireland and the UK, and I just love touring here, and we do that constantly now.
Tell me, Michael, who is the maybe I'm putting you on the spot here. Who is the Irish artist that you've got you most admire?
Well, there are a number of them, really. I suppose artists, when I was growing up, I listened to all of the artists of the day, like Margot and Philomena and Daniel and Foster and Alan. I mean, Foster and Alan I have huge admiration for, because they sing and Mick plays so well on the accordion, and is an All-Ireland champion, and and rightly so, because he's a fantastic player. And so there are lots of Irish artists that I would have listened to. Of course, Big Tom and the Mainliners. I mean, you couldn't talk about country music in Ireland without mentioning Big Tom and the Mainliners. They had so many good songs and so many songs they could call their own, and the sound of the band was something that I latched onto. So there are lots of artists really that I looked up to in Ireland and abroad as well. People like Charlie Pride, people like Dolly and Loretta Lynn, and the artists over in America, George Jones, all those kind of artists. So they shape your music world, I suppose. And I often say, that if there weren't the bands in Ireland years ago, there wouldn't be the bands today, because they're the ones who paved the way for artists like us now, and they're the ones who we learned from. So to answer your question, all of the above people I would have influenced me in some way or other.
Indeed, I think they've probably influenced, possibly they've influenced us all in our musical tastes, indeed.
Absolutely.
No question. Now, you had a hugely successful CD now, in the day when CDs and DVDs sales have almost collapsed. You had a huge success with and it gave a real good feeling of the show, where you were live at the INEC Killarney, and that was released on CD and also DVD.
It was, and it was my first live DVD. I recorded it a year last July in the INEC, which is a huge theatre down in Killarney. It's a 2,000-seater, and it was a great place to record it. And we had, up at one stage, we had 35 musicians on the stage, and it was a great way of letting people see what the concert show is like. And we had a great time recording that DVD. And then so many people asked us for, the comment was, we sit at home watching the DVD and we love to watch it, but it's busy, we can't play it in our CD player or in our car or wherever. So we decided then to bring out the audio, the live album, double album, taken from that night in Killarney, and that's our last CD the latest CD that we've released. It's a double album, collection of all of the songs that we performed that night.
It was an incredible, truly monumental DVD and indeed CD as well, because it manages to encapsulate the sheer atmosphere on the night and all the rest of it.
That's true, yeah.
Now, this year, Michael, you've released several singles. I think you've released more singles than any other Irish singer.
Well, a lot of Irish artists are releasing singles quicker now, more singles in a shorter space of time, I think, nowadays. So we want to keep up with the trend. So yeah, the last one we released is another one that I wrote. It's called Joey on the Fiddle, and it's a story of a fiddle player that I met in America. When I was out in America, I met this fiddle player when I was very young, and every time I went back, I looked up to see was he still there. So it's although the story is of course different for the song, you have to make it interesting for the song. But the idea came from this fiddle player.
Absolutely,
and that's the latest one, yeah.
Indeed, and hugely popular, hugely successful it is as well. And you've written, you appear to have a continual appetite, Michael, for continuing to write music.
I do. Well, it's a hobby as well as everything else. It's a labour of love, really. I mean, when I'm off, which isn't very rare because we play every night, but when I'm at home here in the daytime, I write and sit at the piano and try to come up with ideas. And then, people often ask, do you mind the travelling when you're on tour? And I don't, because that's what I do when I'm travelling. I tend to come up with ideas and try to have ideas of songs for when I get home when I'm at the piano. So I love all aspects of the business, particularly performing live, but I have a love for writing as well, yeah. Excellent.
Now you're coming over on tour. You've got September dates now. You you kick off in September. You're returning to the UK on tour. You're starting off on Tuesday, the 18th of September.
That's September. Yeah, that's right. We start in the Beck Theatre in Hayes on the 18th of September, Tuesday night, and it's always a great night. We love playing the Beck. It's a lovely theatre. And then on the 19th we go up to Felixstowe, to the Spa in Felixstowe, and then on the 20th we go to the Princess Theatre in Hunstanton. I think that one is nearly sold out, that one in Hunstanton. But then we do two dances, which we've never done really in the UK in a long time. But we're doing a dance on the Friday night, the 21st of September, in the Leeds Irish Centre, and then the next night, on the Saturday night, we're at the Assembly Halls in Islington, and we're looking forward to that. We've never been there, but by all accounts it's a fabulous venue. And then we finish off with a concert again in the Town Hall in Oxford on the Sunday night. That's the 23rd, and that's the last night of the tour. So we're really looking forward to it. I mean, we love to play in the UK. We love to travel there every year, and this year is going to be bigger and better than ever. We've added to the band. We've a great new steel guitar player, Stephen Hamilton, who was with lots of bands. He was with Daniel in Killarney this year, and he's a great guitar player and banjo player and steel player. And of course we've Keith and Lorraine with us, Keith and Lorraine MacDonald. They're going to be playing brass as well. So we're looking forward to it. Really looking forward to it.
Indeed. Now, the one unique thing, Michael, is that on Sunday, the 23rd of September, the Oxford Town Hall, that's the only appearance of Keith and Lorraine MacDonald. Now, Keith and Lorraine, just a little reminder, they're actually the son and daughter of Barney MacDonald, who was a member of the Joe Dolan band for more years than he probably...
Frankie MacDonald, that's right.
Frankie MacDonald.
And Frankie played trumpet with Joe Dolan for all of the years of the Joe Dolan and the Drifters, yeah.
Indeed, and Keith and Lorraine, it's if you, I would have to say, if you haven't seen them, they really are two superb talents, brother and sister, and they've got an incredible talent. Both of them have fantastic voices. They're great show people, and well worth going along to.
They are. They're fantastic artists. I mean, they bring a sense of atmosphere and buzz, for want of a better word. I mean, it's when they hit the stage running, and they're just fantastic. I really love and enjoy working with them. They bring a great atmosphere to the whole thing, and of course then they're great players as well, and great singers. Keith and Lorraine are fantastic people, yeah.
Indeed. Michael, listen, it's been lovely to catch up with you again, lovely to speak to you again, and listen, have a great tour in the UK. No doubt it'll be a huge success, and listen, looking ahead, I look forward to speaking to you again when you're back in the UK.
Well, thanks for having me very, very much, and hello to all the listeners, and thanks for all of the requests and for playing the music, Jerry, as always. Thanks very, very much. We're looking forward to meeting everybody. It won't be long now, starting on the 18th, and very much looking forward to it.
Michael, thanks very much indeed. Lovely to talk to you.
And thank you, Jerry. Bye-bye.